beaches of coastal Florida, the blue waters of the Gulf, providing fun and frolic. But ESPN didn't come here to play football or work on our tans. We've come for Supercross in Tampa Stadium. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Supercross. Dave Despain with Larry Myers here to talk about the big turning point in this series. Happened last weekend in Indianapolis. It looked like Damon Bradshaw was going to run away with this championship. Now he has crashed himself out of the point lead, and I think the question is, what happens now?
Well, that's a good question, too. I still think Damon Bradshaw is the key. A week ago, he was on top of the world, crashed, finished 19th. He picked up only 2 points. Now he's third in the standings. Now, if Bradshaw's wrist is all right, and that seemed to be the problem, and he's able to come back and fight with Stanton and Vail, and we've got a three-way battle from here on out. If it's not all right, we're looking at a two-way battle between Stanton and Vail, and if that's the case, I'd have to give the nod to Vail based on past experiences.
We'll find out if Damon Bradshaw is healthy as we go trackside and meet the third member of our telecast team. Three-time Supercross champ Bob Hanna, who's ridden herd a time or two, is standing by with the man of the hour.
Thanks, Dave. For once, I agree with Larry. Damon Bradshaw is the key to this picture. Damon, last week's crash, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, me and Jeff Stanton were racing for the lead, and we come up for the triple jumps, and there was a left rider kind of out of my view till the last second. I tried to avoid him, and, ended up on my head, and I was, walked to the side of the track trying to get my breath back, and, everything was kind of starting to come back to, and I was a little sore.
The obvious question now is, you hurt your wrist. Is it going to affect your riding?
No, I'm 100%. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go back out and start winning again.
Well, I hope you're right, Damon. Riding with a sore wrist is no fun. Back to you, Dave.
All right, thank you, Bob. What do you think, Larry? Is he telling the truth? Is his wrist 100%?
Your guess is as good as mine. Often a rider will have a problem, and he won't admit it. And I never could figure out why. He just doesn't want anyone to know that he's hurt. Who knows?
It's all psychological, isn't it? We'll find out more about Bradshaw and about the men he's got to beat here tonight as we return with the action from the Tampa Stadium. It's a hot time at Tampa Stadium tonight. Check out this pre-race fireworks display, recalling some of the fireworks we've had in this series so far. Damon Bradshaw, mad at the Kawasaki guys, says they've been picking on him. The Honda guys trying to figure out a way to catch Bradshaw. Here are Jeff Stanton on the left and defending champ Jean-Michel Bayle on the right, obviously impressed by the display. They caught Bradshaw all right last week at Indy when his championship hopes blew up in the Hoosier Dome. Damon will try to get back on track tonight on one of the most difficult circuits we've seen this year. Bob Hanna takes a look at the toughest part of the track.
Thanks, Dave. We've got a very special set of whoop-de-doos in this Tampa Stadium. Usually we've got 30 to 40 yards of whoops. Tonight we've got 80 yards. Usually a rider can get his rhythm through them because they're only 2 feet deep. Not tonight. They're 3 to 3.5 feet deep. All night riders have been complaining, the whoops are too big, I can't get my rhythm up. In the main event, I think this is going to be a great spot to watch. There's going to be some big action right here.
And let's get to the action as we pick up the highlights of heat race number 1. The first of the qualifiers, Larry. There is Damon Bradshaw. The question is, can he get back on track?
Well, we're going to find out very, very shortly. The wrist is not even taped. That kind of amazes me. I would thought as a precautionary measure, Dave, that they would have put something around it, but he says it's okay. We'll find out.
Obviously, Team Yamaha confident that they can get back to championship form. Gate drops on the first of the qualifiers. Here's the run to the first turn, and sure enough, it is Bradshaw who grabs the whole shot. Granted, it didn't last long. His teammate Jeff Emig pulls off a pass to take the lead in that first whoop-de-doo section. And so the youngster who was so impressive in leading at Orlando earlier this year once again is back out front. Must be that Florida air.
I think, Dave, he should have taken a bigger gulp of that air because Bradshaw comes right back and regains the #1 position. And look at the way he was jolted coming through the whoops. If I had a sore wrist, I think that I would have had a tendency to let go right there.
Here comes Stanton with a little bobble, as you see. He's trying to get around Emig and move up into second spot. And from their challenge, Bradshaw for the lead. Certainly the Honda guys want to put pressure on Damon Bradshaw. And boy, Stanton, the master of the whoops, isn't he? He gets through there in a hurry.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's looking very strong in that section. And now Emig having more problems. Here comes Jeff Ward, the veteran, rider #6 aboard the Kawasaki to challenge Emig.
Emig manages to hold him at bay for a moment, and now let's see who's going to come out with the lead in the battle for third. Sure enough, it'll be Wardy, who's really struggled in this, his farewell season, and now struggles again as Emig comes back around and makes it stick. This is a good race.
Jeff Emig is not riding as aggressively as he did in the early part of the season, and I don't know what to put my finger on, but he just wasn't allowing himself to be passed that way. And look, here comes Guy Cooper. So Emig has slid all the way from the front, Dave. He's going to be out of contention for a transfer position. He's going to have to go through the semis.
Indeed, the top 4 out of the heats go directly to the championship main event. That's the route that everybody wants. And there's Cooper taking over that 4th spot and dropping Emig back to 5th.
The way Cooper rides, don't you wonder, when is he going to win a Supercross? Will he make it before his career is over? You know, he's the same age as Jeff Ward, give or take a couple of months.
You think we wonder about that? Cooper's got to be wondering about that. And so in this battle of the Supercross senior citizens, let's see how it comes out. 30-year-old Jeff Ward surrendering to the man who is a couple of months younger than him, Guy Cooper. And Cooper's got not only a transfer spot now, but a shot at the leaders.
He definitely does, and Cooper is closing. Look at this. He pulls up to the rear wheel of Jeff Stanton, Bradshaw, running around 4 or 5 bike lengths out front, and all 3 riders that we're watching in protection for that lead look comfortable at this point.
I want you to watch this next sequence as Cooper and Stanton battle after second spot. The Yamaha number 4, Bradshaw, pulling away a little bit. Now watch what happens to Stanton. He gets a little out of shape right there, and in that section Hannah talks about, his rhythm is all out of whack, big bobble, and that lets Cooper go by clean to take over the position.
You'll watch what happens now. Stanton's not happy with that, so he tries to get him back. He kisses off the side of Cooper's motorcycle, and he bites the ground. Now he has a problem. Here it is again, Dave. Watch this. Stanton really, you know, he had no call to go in that hard that early in the heat race. I think he was a little bit upset with himself, and he just decided, I'm going to show Cooper, and he did. He showed him what the underside of his Honda looks like.
He's trying to compensate for one mistake. He makes another one, and that allows Damon Bradshaw to cruise to a relatively uncontested win over Cooper. Stanton got up to take 3rd, and Emig finishes 4th. Let's go trackside and hear from Damon Bradshaw.
Damon, great way to start out the night in Tampa. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I was riding a little rough, but it takes usually that first qualifier to get things rolling.
I think it's going to looking good for the main.
Yeah, we may need to make a few adjustments, but I feel good and feel like I can win.
Wrist good?
Yep, perfect.
Good job.
Thank you.
And with that, we go to the highlights of the second qualifying heat race. And in this one, we'll get an opportunity to see the season's first winner, Mike LaRocco, who won down in Florida the last time the series was here. Look what happens to Mike in the first turn. Number 3, Kedrowski takes the lead. Number 7 is LaRocco. He gets swept up in the turbulence of that first turn pack and finds himself on the ground and dead last with a whole lot of catching up to do. Out front, Jean-Michel Bale. He'll pick to possibly win this championship.
All the riders right now playing catch-up to Bale. It's not going to work. Bale is going to show he is the master at being out front, as he is coming from behind. But he is so smooth out there. Look at this battle. A couple of guys back in the pack trying to fight for a transfer position. They're going at it like a main event. That's Jeff Matasevich and Doug Dubach. Matasevich is number 9, Dubach number 12.
Dubach's just happy to be up on his wheels. He's usually the one who gets caught in that first turn crash like LaRocco did. Later in the heat race, he's challenged by number 17. This is Jeremy McGrath, who had a great run at Indianapolis last week. The West Coast 125 rider really shows great potential on the 250.
Early in the season, he told us that he felt at home on the bike, and he thought he would be a threat. Well, he wasn't initially, but he has really come on strong, and I want to tell you, Dave, I'm impressed by the way he has picked up his abilities to ride that 250cc machine.
You're looking at a kid who's going to be the star next year when he moves into the championship division for real. Number 3 is Mike Kedrowski. This is a teammate battle. Kedrowski challenged by number 9, Jeff Matasevich. The 2 Kawasaki's running 2nd and 3rd, and boom, Matasevich drills Kedrowski in the battle of Team Polish.
Now, in practice earlier today, Matasevich actually broke his finger, so he's not able to hold on. You know, he's got a leg problem and he's got a finger problem.
And Bale has no problems at all because he's out front all by himself. The lapper's moving out of the way to let JMB take the checkered flag. The class of Supercross finishing ahead of Mike Kedrowski. The rather beaten and battered Matasevich has to settle for 4th. Late in the race, he surrendered a position to Jeremy McGrath. Let's go trackside to Bob Hanna.
Jean-Michel, you look good tonight. You feel good for the main?
Yeah, I feel very good. I hope I'm going to get a good start. And, I think I have the speed to win. So I just hope for a good race.
Do you need a good start here on this Tampa track?
I feel very good in the whoop. So I think still if I have a bad start, I can pass a lot of people in the whoop. So I'm not too scary about the race.
Good luck in the main.
Thank you.
And so the heats are complete. The fans are loving the action. We'll be back with the semis right after this. Back at Tampa Stadium, nearly 33,000 people gathered to watch the highlights of the semifinals here. They were all set to cheer the Florida boys on, but look what happened to Gator Stater Gene Newmack in the first turn. He's on the ground and playing catch up, and that's a big problem in this race because you've got to be top 5 to make the championship main event.
Keith Johnson is leading, but watch this, Dave. Here are a couple of guys. One of Larry Ward, rider number 10. The other is Jimmy Eichel. Larry Ward is the guy that you would have picked out of that whole pack to be the leader in that race. He probably is the star of the field, along with Jeff Ward, rider number 6, who barrels by Johnson to take over the number 1 position.
And so the other Ward, no relation, says, well, if Larry's on the ground, I better gas it up here and take the lead. He does. Michael Craig, the king of the Ultra Cross series, moves into the number 2 spot, and they quickly drop Johnson back to 3rd.
Well, I imagine Johnson is wondering, is this pick on Johnson or pick on KTM night? The rider that has taken over the number 2 position, Michael Craig, now sets his sights on Jeff Ward, who is holding down the number 1 slot. Now, there is Ward. Now, coming up in just a second, we're going to see Ward take a peculiar sachet. There it is right there. He looks behind him. Watch him shake his head. See, he's wondering what is going on. I don't know, Dave, if he had a problem at that point with his motorcycle or what it might have been, or if he had just made a mistake and he's shaking his head and saying, man, oh man, what am I doing out here? But he certainly is not riding like Jeff Ward is capable of riding as Mike Craig blast into that number 1 position.
Changing of the guard, the young kid taking the lead from the veteran. Jeff Ward falls to 2nd spot, and Craig from there has basically a cakewalk. It's easy pickings for the youngster from California as he turns for the checkered flag, and give this man some style points. Looky there. Nice clicker at the finish line as number 59 takes home the gold for Kawasaki. And Ward struggles home with 2nd spot, but still good enough for the main event. He'll have an opportunity to get things sorted out as he takes Carl Valencourt, Gene Newmack, and Larry Ward. So the main Ward, after that crash, gets up to finish 5th.
Michael Craig, how's it feel to outrun Jeff Ward in the semi?
Well, I didn't really outrun him. I went there and followed him around. He had some good lines. He's one of the best riders out here besides you guys. And not besides, but you guys are all great. And, I followed him around. He made a mistake, so I got by. And I think he just kind of wanted to get into the main and go from there.
I think you're being polite. You look fantastic. Good luck in the main.
Thank you very much.
I think, Dave, that Michael Craig wants to date Bob Hanna's sister.
Yeah, Hannah's too old to keep up with these guys. We all know that. We'll go to the 2nd semifinal, looking for 4 riders to go to the championship main event. And the launch and the charge to turn 1. This is supposedly, Larry, it looks like Chris Neal has the whole shot, but then Doug Dubach jumps inside, but Tim Ferry in the back of the pack gets all tangled up and goes end over end. The 16-year-old youngster, here you see it, banged the guy in front of him, banged the guy beside him, got run over, motorcycle jumped on him. Great night at the Supercross.
This is a realistic approach, too, because Ferry just said, I've had enough of this, and he walked off the track rather than trying to get back in it. Way in the middle of that pack, way back away from the leaders, Mike LaRocco. He's not having a good night.
Here we pick up the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Number 23, Ronnie Tischner's the hometown boy. He's from Palm Harbor, right here in the Tampa area, and the party that his dad throws for the Supercrossers is legendary. Trying to make the pass on number 30, Larry Brooks. Took one shot at him, came up short, takes another shot at him, pulls it off. No, Brooks has got the inside. This is a good battle.
Oh, it is indeed. Tischner, when he comes to Florida, man, this guy gets lit up. The crowd gets behind him, and he does his best riding in his home state.
And that is LaRocco, number 7, who's been certainly star-crossed here this evening. He won the Orlando race earlier this year, but now back in Florida, he is definitely struggling. Running 4th in the 2nd semifinal and battling here with Larry Brooks. You can see Tischner just took off and left these guys behind.
Ron Tischner is feeling no pain, taking no prisoners on that racetrack. He's got the crowd behind him. I mean, they are on their feet. LaRocco does a little bump and run to move into the number 3 position, but the Tischner story is the one to watch as this heat race unfolded.
LaRocco trying to get his rhythm back and run the pace of the leader, Doug Dubach. Dubach, after a crash in the second lap of his heat race, is looking over at the crowd and saying, hey, how about me? Dubach had a very inconsistent season last year, nagging injuries all season, then finally a victory at San Jose. Again, inconsistency is his problem this year, but he wins this one, and he's bound for the main event, along with the local favorite, Ronnie Tishner, who comes home second. LaRocco, Brooks, and Fisher round out the transfers. We go to Bob Hanna.
Doug Dubach, that's a hard way to the main event for you.
Yeah, I had a few problems in the in my qualifier, but I think I got them sorted out, and I feel pretty good for the main event.
You think you're up to speed for the main?
Well, I don't know. A couple of those guys looked like they were going real fast, but I don't know. I feel better than I did in my qualifier.
Good luck. You look real good.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations, Doug Dubach. Last chance qualifier sends 2 more riders to the main. Oklahoma versus Florida battle. Number 32, Cliff Palmer. He gets around the Florida boy, Ryan Dean, and immediately begins to open up the separation. Dean falls into the clutches of Todd DeHoop, and things get interesting in a hurry. Well, they do, because DeHoop is going to fall into the clutches of the soft Florida sand imported for just that purpose. He gets a little crossways. Watch this. See, he goes off to the side, tries to bring it back. Ain't no way. That front end was just gone. So he took a mouthful of sand. He's going to be out of this one. Jeff Glass, meanwhile, moves into the final transfer position, bypassing Ryan Dean. That's Glass. Cert Racing is his sponsor, rider number 76. And he'll be in the main event here this evening. A second place is good for the transfer spot. Here's your winner, Cliff Palmer, who's been racing the Arena Cross season all winter, comes back with a victory here in the bigger Supercross racetracks, and Glass is tickled to be in the main event as well. 20 riders have now qualified for that 20-lap main event, Palmer and Glass, the last 2 to make the cut. Check out this motorcycle and think about what motorcycles were like back in the days when Bob Hurricane Hanna was winning Supercross events. Bob recalls those days.
When I first started racing back in the early 70s, the bikes that we thought were so tricked wouldn't be that tricked by today's standards. We had a small set of conventional forks on the front. Now we've got heavy-duty upside-down forks. We've got water cooling nowadays for optimum performance all day long. We've got engines with power valves that give us great performance in bottom end, RPM, and top end power. We've got a monoshock system for the rear suspension with 12 inches of travel. We've got disc brakes that work in any kind of conditions for the rider. We've got seats all the way to the gas tank for rider comfort. As you can see, these bikes aren't what they used to be.
All right, thank you, Bob. Big crowd on hand here tonight. When we come back, we'll find out what the rest of the folks in Florida are doing this weekend. One of the fun things about coming to Florida for the Tampa Supercross is the opportunity to catch the spring break scene. Bob Hurricane Hanna got so caught up in the excitement that he became Bobby the Breaker.
While all the Supercross riders and their mechanics were getting ready for tonight's race in the Tampa Stadium, we went out and had some fun with the regular folks. Florida sunshine, spring break, sandy beaches. It wasn't hard to figure out where to take the camera. Hanging out with these folks, wow, what a life. How do these bathing beauties compare beach bumming to work?
Lying on the beach, comparison to working, there isn't any.
I could do this every day. If I could make what I do working, I'd do this. I like to just be here and watch all these cute guys. That's cool.
While these spring breakers try not to overload their brains while at the beach, the eyes definitely get a workout. Forget the experts. Let's ask these folks who'll be tonight's Supercross champion.
Guy Cooper. He's terrific. He's a crowd pleaser. Everybody likes him around here.
David Bradshaw.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Florida sunshine, beaches, and bikinis. I think I found out what Bale, Stanton, and Bradshaw ought to be doing. Oh, that's right. You guys can't do this. I guess I'll have to do it.
Yeah.
Next year, Dave, I want to trade. I want Hanna's job, and he can have mine. We're going to go to the highlights of the 125 main event now, and this thing got off to a slam-bang start. Probably the biggest, hardest crash of the year so far in Supercross. Watch the drag race down to the first turn. The whole shot goes to Brian Swink, and things get complicated. Boom, right there. Swink clips Doug Henry, and in the aftermath, Kevin Crine, Mike Brown, and Mike Treadwell all find themselves on the ground. Crine is apparently hurt, and the medical personnel quickly hurry to him. They do have to red flag this race, and that'll give us the opportunity to go back and take another look at what happened. Here's the man who has dominated the 125 class, Brian Swink, the runaway point leader, coming past the red flag, having triggered the big incident that left 4 riders on the ground. A lot of controversy, a lot of guys unhappy, a lot of guys thought that Swink was guilty here of some unnecessary roughness. Crine, 10-2 by the medical personnel. He's sore, but he's okay.
And I think this is Kevin's first crack at a main event. That makes it that much worse. Now, the rider there, Dave, that's Doug Henry. You know, he's one of the premier riders in this class, and he's being 10-2 by the 8 people. The AMA is there. A couple of folks from Team Yamaha. Now, watch. You see Brian Swink. From this angle, you really can't tell what's happening. There it is. See, Brian Swink just took the wheel out from under, I believe, Doug Henry. I think that was Henry right beside him. He moved over, and what Swink was trying to do was to get a better line into the first corner. And I think you saw him, or maybe we'll see him on this angle. Watch him. He'll look to his right. See, there he takes a look, and it looks like everything is clear. But it's not, because he wipes out the front end of Doug Henry. That puts Henry down, starts the chain reaction. Now watch the highlighted section. That's Jimmy Button. He runs into the back of Mike Brown, and you'll see the aftermath of this in just a second. Button has to go back and repair his front end. For him, it's a break. But watch the bike. Look at this motorcycle. Now Brown is starting to get up, and whap! He gets hit by his own motorcycle. You talk about crunch time. These other 2 guys, they just kind of parked there to watch what was going on.
Top 3 in the points, all involved. This is 3rd-ranked Doug Henry, just a couple of points behind Jimmy Button, whom we'll see in a moment. And, of course, the guy who triggered all this was the point leader, Brian Swink. Henry up and okay. He will be able to restart this event. Meanwhile, back over at the starting line, Jimmy Button's motorcycle being repaired. Remember, he hit Mike Brown. He didn't crash, but he hit hard enough to damage the disc brake, and they're having to replace the front wheel. Talk about lucky by that red flag. I mean, if this thing had continued, here would have been Button 2nd in the points in the back of the pack with a bent motorcycle. Instead, they will have a restart, and he'll be able to try again with a healthy bike. So all in all, a dramatic first 100 yards of this 125 main event here at Tampa. They're going to restart this thing completely, and everybody is able to come back except Kevin Crine, who is a little too beat up to continue. We'll be right back. With Larry Myers and Bob Hanna, Supercross action. Highlights of the 125 championship main event. Got off to a rocky start. The second start, the restart, is a carbon copy without the crash. Swink wins the drag race into turn number 1, comes out with the lead, and dominates this race. Meanwhile, there is tremendous action behind him, but up front, it is all number 1. Beaten the last 2 weeks by Jimmy Button. Swink says it's time to go to work, and he absolutely dominated here in Tampa Stadium. Number 77 is Jimmy Ferry, 53 Chad Pedersen, 575 Jeff DeMent, and number 39, the guy we're going to watch here, is Jimmy Button. He's won the last 2 races. He's playing catch-up from about 6th or 7th spot here. DeMent, just a teenager, 16 years old. A lot of good Supercrossers coming up. See the mistake right there? That cost him a spot. Button really charging.
Button wants to make it 3 in a row. He has a chance, however slight it might be, to win the championship. He needs a lot of cooperation from Brian Swink. But more important, he has to win. And right now, he wants to catch Swink. He would like to make the past improvement the last couple of weeks, Dave, were not accidents.
He goes to work on number 77, Tim Ferry, and you're saying, wait a minute, didn't I see Ferry crash in the 250 race? Yes, you did. Tough kid. He's riding both classes here tonight. He's another 16-year-old. He is no match for Button, as Jimmy takes a little bit of an unusual line right there.
I'd say he took an unusual 2 or 3 lines as he went from one side of the track to the other. It worked, though. And in the wink of an eye, number 39 makes it work again as he slides by number 53, Chad Pedersen, and that moves him into 2nd spot. So now the question is, can he catch Brian Swink? Well, the answer is no, he can't. He is way behind Brian Swink. Swink said at the outset of this one that the past couple of weeks he had been riding to protect his points lead. He said, I want to be the champion, and I don't care if I win or not. Well, the racer in him, I think, took over, Dave, because at the outset of this one, he said, I'm tired of this. I'm going to win. I lie flat and going to win this race.
And so we check in on number 19, Doug Henry. He is 14th in the main event. Obviously a little beat up after that big crash, and that hurts his championship hopes. Again, he was only 2 behind Button coming into this event. Swink had the big lead, but it was a tight battle for second. And so here is Swink out for a Saturday night cruise in Tampa. 2 feet off the pegs, waving to the crowd and winning his 5th event of the year. To give you some idea of his victory margin, Swink's already taken the checkered flag. He's over in the pits being congratulated, and the second place man is not yet home. Jimmy Button will take a runner-up spot. 3 good finishes in a row for him.
Button worked hard that race. To think that he finished that far behind Swink, man, that tells you what kind of rider Swink is.
Here's the finish order for the 125 main. It's Swink, Button, Pedersen, Demand and Ferry, the 2 kids coming home 4th and 5th. Grayson Goodman, Jason Edwards, Ezra Lusk, Todd Bennick, and Barry Karsten round out the top 10. Let's meet the winner.
Brian Swink, you say you're going to show him how it's done. You really did.
Yeah, the last couple weekends, I think I've just been taking it easy, padding my point lead. I've been trying, but although I wasn't going that fast, everyone was saying they're better than me, so I had to prove here that I'm the best guy out there.
You had a good lead tonight, but it looked like you just kept pushing.
Yeah, because like everyone was saying, they're getting better, they're getting faster. Not really. I was just slacking off, and I just went out there and I wanted to pull as far as I could and prove that I'm the best.
A fantastic ride, Brian.
Thanks a lot.
As we take a look at the point standings, here's Swink's lead. It's one thing for the expert analyst to point out that the guy went out there and cruised around like a duck for the last couple of weeks. It's another thing when the guy actually admits it.
He does not lack in confidence, does he?
Here's your top 3 left to right, Swink, Button, and Pedersen. And we'll be back with the main event. At Tampa Stadium, the 20 fastest men to come here tonight are at the gate, preparing for round 10 of the 17-race battle that will decide the championship for 1992 Camel Supercross Series. As the countdown goes inside 30 seconds, the big question, how will Damon Bradshaw respond to the disaster last week, the crash that dropped him out of the championship point lead? Bradshaw trying to regain his momentum, and the Honda teammates, Jeff Stanton and Jean-Michel Bale, tied coming into the event, hoping to break away from Bradshaw and go off and decide this championship between them. A lot riding on it tonight.
Definitely, Dave. We're getting into the final races of the year. Each point is critical.
Here's the launch and the charge down to turn number 1. Bradshaw sticks the front wheel out front. Right on his tail is Matasevich. There's Bale back in traffic, and here's a big 4-rider tangle. Doug Dubach and Mike LaRocco on the ground.
It's become commonplace to see Doug Dubach there, and unfortunately lately Mike LaRocco has joined him on more than one occasion.
A bobble by Bradshaw drops him out of the top 3. Matasevich takes the lead. Kodrowski, number 3, charges into second spot, and as quick as we can say it, he is passed by number 23, the hometown favorite, Ronnie Tishner, moves into the runner-up position.
Ron Tishner, as I told you earlier, finds the Florida tracks to his liking. He's from nearby Palm Harbor, Florida, and the crowd is going nuts. They're not paying any attention to anything except Tishner.
Tishner second, Kodrowski third. Pressure from number 17. Once again, Jeremy McGrath, very strong. The 125 rider moving to the 250 class, but for the moment, everybody chases Matasevich, number 9 out front. Look at McGrath. He's charging.
Jeremy McGrath doing a fine job. Jeff Stanton has moved from one side of the track to the other. He doesn't seem to be getting anywhere, but, it's a good sign because he's looking for new lines. He wants to get to the front of the pack as quickly as he can. Stanton is the guy right now that I'd keep my eye on.
Stanton is 4th, battling with Guy Cooper, number 5, who's back in 5th spot. Behind them come number 4, Damon Bradshaw. Now Bradshaw is around Stanton.
Ron Tishner moves into the number 1 position. Look at this.
Unbelievable. The crowd goes crazy. The hometown favorite out front as Tishner takes the lead from Matasevich. First time he's led all year. Look at this dogfight. Bradshaw, number 4, McGrath, 17. Number 2 is Stanton, and hot on their heels comes Kodrowski, who ran into problems while running second, and he's back all the way up to about 7th or 8th spot. Intense competition, tremendous amount of position swapping.
I still like Jeff Stanton's position. Now, he makes the pass on Jeremy McGrath. Stanton is looking for lines on the racetrack. He's not content to follow. Early part of the season, Stanton was following. He was letting the field stretch themselves out the opening laps. Not so here. He is looking for running room. And now he's alongside Bradshaw. Look at this. Bradshaw takes him all the way up to the wall and almost off the wall and into the bales. That knocks Stanton back. But look how quick he rebounds, and he's coming right back after Bradshaw.
Kedrowski took advantage of that to regain 2 spots. Impossible to keep up with the position changing. 6, 7 guys running over the top of each other, and they're all chasing number 23, Ronnie Tishner. Behind Tishner comes Guy Cooper. Cooper told a Cycle News reporter he wasn't feeling very well. Whoa, trouble for Tishner.
Tishner almost lost it. He's lucky to end up in second place. He got sideways. Cooper shot to the inside. He takes over the number 1 position.
Matasevich, Bradshaw, and number 3, Kedrowski continue their battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th spot. Position swapping at every turn. Bradshaw now appears to be the man on the move. He is setting his sights on Matasevich. With the big triple jump, he leaps up to the rear wheel of the number 9 Kawasaki.
Look at this. Matasevich has his problems, but look in the back. We've got Bale and Stanton going at it. 2 Honda teammates.
And as the champion Bale looks back over his shoulder, he has not yet made a move. Hasn't come up to join this brawl, and I don't blame him. And Bradshaw's off the racetrack. Bradshaw wheeling back through the hay bales, lost a bunch of positions after a tangle with Stanton, and that's going to allow Bale to move ahead of Bradshaw in terms of track position. Take another look.
Let's watch this. Now, we're going to go back. This is what Bradshaw did earlier to Jeff Stanton. Took him up against the wall. Now, that was pretty fair. Look what Stanton does, though, in retaliation. That one's kind of questionable. In any event, Bradshaw is off the racetrack. He's going to wheelie back over the top of the banners. He got a payback there, Stanton did, and advanced a couple of positions in the process.
Impossible to keep the position straight here when they're swapping them that fast, but let's try to reset it for you. The 3rd place man is number 2, Stanton. Then comes Matasevich. There's a bobble by Kedrowski. They are 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and that should put, well, now Bale is around Kedrowski. That'll move him to 5th.
The whoops that Bob Hanna talked about earlier, that section plus one other severe set of whoops are causing all the problems. Oh, are they vicious? Look at Bale, almost lost it again. When Bale has trouble in whoops, I want to tell you, they are mean.
More passing for position in half of this main event than we saw in the first half of the season. A great racetrack and a great battle here at Tampa as Damon Bradshaw tries to claw his way through this traffic and get to the front. Matasevich deserves a call. He's been known to get out front and then fade all year. He admits, it's on the ground.
There he goes.
Matasevich has crashed, and that will enable Bradshaw to move up another spot.
Yeah, Bradshaw and 2 or 3 others as Matasevich is having trouble getting back on the motorcycle, and now he's on and going again.
We'll be back with more of this Donnybrook in a moment. Guy Cooper is leading the Tampa Supercross. He's never won a main event in this league of competition, and he is pursued by the 2-time series champ, number 2, Jeff Stanton. Running 3rd is the hometown favorite, Ronnie Tishner, who's showing some staying power here. He had the lead early. He's been passed for the lead, but he's regrouping and running with the best of them.
He definitely is, and Stanton is on track, working his way toward the front of the pack. Let me give a quick call to Guy Cooper. You know, some of the best racing I've ever seen in my life. Certainly this is one of them. I go back to Atlanta a couple of years ago. Guy Cooper involved in that one as well as this one. He's involved in a lot of great races. Maybe this one is going to be the charm, Dave.
We go back to the battle for 4th and 5th. Damon Bradshaw and Jean-Michel Bale. Bradshaw looked like he was about ready to climb the ladder, perhaps even go to the lead when he ran off the racetrack right in this section right here. Bale has kind of been lurking back there and watching this action, but he'll lurk no more. He's ready to make a move on Bradshaw. He's got the inside line coming into the left-hander. Tried to block pass, and Bradshaw foxed him.
Bradshaw took a look to his left. He saw Bale was there, and he knew exactly what he needed to do. That was a masterful move on the part of Damon Bradshaw.
I thought Bale would have him covered. We've seen him make that move so many times before, but Bradshaw was having none of it. There is certainly no love lost between the Honda and the Yamaha riders here. The Honda guys do not like the fact that Bradshaw's been beating him up so badly all year, and Bradshaw doesn't seem to like anybody out there. He's says that's part of his motivation. He wants to be mad at those guys.
Reminds me of the third member of our broadcast crew, Bob Hurricane Hanna. He always talked about riders, and he said, hey, they never sent me Christmas cards. Why should I like them?
Bradshaw trying to close in on Tichenor now, with Bale sitting back there marking time, and a glimpse of number 17, Jeremy McGrath, who now runs consistently in the 6th spot and wants to stay out of trouble. Stanton ready to go after Cooper now.
Here's what you have to look out for, Dave. Cooper holding down the number 1 spot. If he starts to try to block Stanton, if he starts worrying about Stanton making the pass and Stanton starts switching lines, they go back and forth, the rest of the field is going to catch them.
There's an inside move by Stanton. He couldn't quite get the corner squared off and get the drive out that he needed to pass Cooper. Cooper has always had tremendous speed. He has not been able to sustain that speed all the way to the finish line and win one of these things. Stanton seems now to have the momentum. Will he try the pass? No, but he's certainly setting Cooper up.
He had the opportunity. Now, there's a little bit of respect, I think, for a couple of, you would normally say, very clean riders. He had the opportunity. He waited for that whoop section, and he just took the measure of Guy Cooper. He has the line through that whoop-de-doo section down pat as he continues and now opens up about a 5 bike length lead over Guy Cooper. That was a great pass.
Quickly pulling away. Stanton has that section of the racetrack that Bob Hanna pointed out at the top of the show. Definitely wired. Now, Cooper will fall under pressure from Bradshaw, who is in 3rd spot, his best position thus far. Stanton's looking back over his shoulder. That surprises me a little bit.
Not a good thing, not a good sign for Jeff Stanton. Generally, when he gets a lead, Stanton tries to ride his own race and ignore what is happening behind him. He knows that's the fast way around the racetrack. Again, when you start worrying about what is happening behind you, who's trying to pass you, should I move over and try to block, that's when the field will catch you and take advantage of little errors.
The big 3 of Supercross 1992 are Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, and Jean-Michel Bale. They've been joined at the Tampa party by number 5, Guy Cooper, and it's a 4-man race up front. Look how 3rd and 4th have caught the first 2 men. Bradshaw and Bale are there, and I got to believe Bradshaw's wrist must not be hurting him too bad.
I think his wrist is just fine, as he said at the outset of the program, that it is. Now, we'll see what happens as this race winds down. The track is awfully rough, and the wrist could become a factor late in the going. We'll just have to wait and see, Dave.
It was an 8-man battle through the early laps, but now the cream has risen to the top. Here's Bradshaw trying to make a move on Cooper. He can't get there. Stanton continues to set the pace up front, but Cooper, Bradshaw, and Bale are all matching that pace.
Unbelievable race action. This is the best that we have seen all year long. One error, and the guy in front could well be back and forth just like that.
Cooper had a little bit of a bobble there and looked like he might leave the door open for Bradshaw, but now as they come whipping through that whoop-de-doo section, Stanton again pulls out 3 or 4 bike lengths. That section may be the key to him winning this race.
Could very well be the key. And Bale has trouble. And again, we'll point out that Jean-Michel Bale is the master of whoops. And that is what? That's the 2nd time that we have seen serious bobbles by Bale in the whoop section.
Very unusual, and you see the big gap that is created as a result. Cooper is coming back after Stanton over the finish line jump. He's got a wheel out front. Stanton squares off the corner, hangs onto the spot. Cooper's
got
back.
The drive.
Who's it going to be as they, boy, clean racing. No touch, no contact, no block pass. Stanton, for the moment, manages to hold Cooper at bay. How many times can he keep back there?
That's an impossible situation. They're friends. They're riding clean. Dave, you get to the last 4 or 5 laps, all of that is going to be history. Someone is going to be off the track, I guarantee.
We'll be back with more in a moment. No change in the running order among the top 4, but all kinds of potential change as these guys continue to just hammer on each other for position. Damon Bradshaw crashed at Indianapolis a week ago trying to get back on track. He's got a new competitor in Guy Cooper. Cooper's ready to go after the lead, and for a moment it looked like they were going to go 3 abreast here.
3 abreast in Supercross would be a rarity indeed, and just as we say it, look at this. 3 abreast coming out of the corner, and Guy Cooper sweeps back to the number 1 position. I love it.
What a great pass he put on Jeff Stanton. He totally ignored the presence of Damon Bradshaw. He knew where he had to get to on the racetrack. He took the spot. Cooper leads it. He's never won. Stanton is 2nd. He's a 2-time champion. And Damon Bradshaw is in that 3rd spot, determined to get back on top of the Supercross heap. The unknown factor here is Jean-Michel Bale. We have not yet seen Bale go to the front. Both times when he's tried, he ran into trouble in that whoop-de-doo section and fell back off the pace. So now the laps begin to wind down, and I would think the intensity of this competition starts to take take a toll.
Jean-Michel Bayle, let me just say, is riding not in an unfamiliar style. Bayle often sets back and watches when there is a big Donnybrook in front of him. He picks out lines, and there goes Stanton to the inside, and they crisscross, and Stanton is going to regain the lead. Another lead change. But here comes Cooper right back. Unbelievable race action. Side by side through some of the roughest stuff I've seen all year, and Cooper comes back in front one more time.
Cooper held on over the triple, got a little more distance, and managed to regain the lead. Stanton actually completed the pass. He's tried to square that corner off down on the inside before, unsuccessfully. This time he made it work. Cooper out-jumped him and came back, and now Stanton's got the spot again.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. He took Cooper right up next to the wall, and here comes Jean-Michel Bayle. Bayle has passed Bradshaw. He went by Cooper, and now he's challenging Stanton for the #1 position. I told you, this is the way Bayle rides. He watches, then he pounces. Whoa. And Jean-Michel Bayle is out front.
An unbelievable charge. Bayle passing the top 3 men on the racetrack in the span of 3 straightaways. Bayle looks back over his shoulder. Bradshaw bumps and shoves and tries to get around Cooper and can't make the move. Bradshaw is 4th. Cooper is 3rd. Stanton is 2nd. And Bayle is unbelievable. Jean-Michel Bayle, watch how he did it. Here's the first move. The pass down the inside on that rough whoop-de-doo section. He disposes of Bradshaw, and then he didn't stop.
And here is another section of whoops. Same situation. He's finally mastered those things. Look at this. Look at him. How beautiful. What riding technique Jean-Michel Bayle has. Goes by Cooper. Stanton, at this point, does not know he's there. He has no idea that Jean-Michel Bayle is the rider coming up alongside him. Now watch what he does to Jeff Stanton. Stanton, I think, is used to having Cooper back there, and maybe Cooper riding in one line. Stanton just completely ignores that inside, and Bayle doesn't. He just takes advantage of it. Stanton had to hit the brakes, and Bayle is our new leader.
In this game, it is common to have to pursue one of the top flight riders for a lap or two to find a spot to make a move. Bayle passed 3 of them, and indeed the next 3 fastest men on the racetrack in the span of 3 straightaways. And now look how quickly this thing has fallen apart. He has set a new pace, and suddenly it's no race at all.
It is unbelievable that just 1 lap ago, let's make that 3/4 of a lap, we had a 4-way battle for the lead. Bayle makes that 1 move, and the whole thing is turned into a shambles. It's like, where did he come from? How did he do that? And all of the air went out of their balloon.
It is very much a head game. When you can see the leader and run the leader's pace, you believe you can pass him, you believe you can win. When Bayle does what Bayle just did, it totally destroys your confidence, and the rest of these guys are left wondering yet again, how did this Frenchman ever get so fast? He dominated Supercross last year after Stanton was injured, and he looks like he could do that again for the rest of this year if he rides the way he has tonight.
Well, it was just 1 week ago that Jean-Michel Bayle told us that he was not happy at the beginning of the year with the setup of the motorcycles, and he was not able to ride to his fullest ability. He said through hard work, he and Stanton both said a lot of testing, a lot of effort, a lot of time have elevated their riding styles, their riding skills back to what they were 1 year ago. And here comes Bradshaw to the inside, and Bradshaw took the measure of Guy Cooper. So now we have a new rider in the #3 position.
Cooper's lost the edge for sure. He told a Cycle News reporter earlier tonight that he wasn't feeling 100%, that he felt a little off his game, and even though he showed flashes of brilliance early on, he has, well, now he's coming back after Bradshaw. Maybe too early to write him off. For a guy who doesn't feel well, he's doing pretty well indeed.
Well, if that's not feeling well, I think probably what he should do is get food poisoning or the flu prior to every race.
As he pursues Damon Bradshaw, the interval about a bike length, Cooper continues to be the most aggressive guy out there on the big jump. That's why they call him airtime. He's got a line here. Is he going to be able to repass Damon Bradshaw? He certainly seems determined to do that and finish up on the box. Bradshaw doesn't seem to have the kind of drive that has taken him to the front down through the whoop-de-doos. Cooper's got the line, throws the block up by the bales. Whoa! Bradshaw gives him an elbow. Cooper completes the pass, takes over 3rd. Bradshaw falls to 4th in a shoving match for the final position on the victory podium. Cooper up into that 3rd spot, opens up a 5, 6, 7 bike length lead. Tremendous action all the way to the end of the main event here in Tampa Stadium. We'll be back with the finish of this spectacular Tampa Supercross after this timeout. Jean-Michel Bayle, number 1. Another little bobble there for Bayle. It has not been a perfect night, but perfection is ending up on top, and he's the man who's headed for the checkered flag. Here is the second place man. That is Jeff Stanton, and we want to go back and take a look at how third and fourth have been resolved here with that Guy Cooper pass on Damon Bradshaw.
Well, nothing spectacular in the pass. It was textbook. It's what happens after the pass. Watch this. Bradshaw just sticks the elbow in Cooper's head. Cooper's got a helmet on, no pain, but I think that was unnecessary.
And so we have seen now how Guy Cooper will finish in the third spot here, barring some miracle on the last lap. And indeed, Jean-Michel Bayle is just a couple corners from home, a couple corners away from his second win of the Supercross season, and how the momentum has shifted. Damon Bradshaw won 5 in a row. Team Honda now have 4 straight. Bayle got 2, Stanton's got 2, and this championship battle is prepared to go right down to the wire.
And that second win of the year will give Bayle a tie with Jeff Stanton. 15 wins in the career of both riders, and that puts them in the number 5 position in the all-time career win list.
How do you beat Jean-Michel Bayle? That was the question all last year. Could be the question to be answered again this year. Nobody had the answer here tonight. JMB up and over the checkered flag jump has won his second victory of the season. Stanton comes home second. Cooper got close at the end for third, and Damon Bradshaw settles for fourth. Congratulations to the winner. He'll head for Victory Circle and the opportunity to talk to our Bob Hanna, Stanton, Cooper, Bradshaw, and Jeremy McGrath with a great run to round out the top 5. Let's go ahead and take a look down through 10th. It's Kudrowski, LaRocco, Tishner, Emig, and Ward. The man with the French accent, Jean-Michel Bayle.
Jean-Michel, you said you felt good tonight. You looked better than good. How'd you feel?
I feel very good tonight. Very nice race. I think it's the best race I ever in US, and I'm very happy when you win like that. It's, you know, it's a lot more beautiful than when you go away alone. So I think it was a nice race for everybody, and you know, I'm looking forward to see this race on the TV.
Good luck in the future.
Thank you.
We take a look at the points. You noted at the top, if this becomes a 2-man battle, the Bayle will be the favorite. I wonder if that's the case yet, or if Damon Bradshaw still is within reach.
I would not count Bradshaw out of anything. My personal opinion is the wrist was bothering him in the latter stages of the race, Dave. I think he'll bounce back.
Here's your top 3. Bayle at the top of the box with his teammate Stanton. Cooper's got to be proud of standing up there this evening after an inspired ride. Another round of the Supercross Series is in the books. They'll take a week off in anticipation of the doubleheader at Pontiac, Michigan, next up here on ESPN. I'm Dave Despain for Bob Hanna and Larry Myers. So long, everybody.